Hi, this is Steve from yourcreativelife.com talking today about writers channeling their emotions. Now, what do I mean by that? This is another of these series that I've been doing. And this time, every video in the series is going to explore a different kind of emotion that we writers can learn to channel. Now, why is this important? I think it's incredibly important because in many other instances and many other professions, a person can just take an emotion, a feeling, and just crumble, right? So let's say you're, I don't know, a nurse or a doctor, and you just feel sad. The question really is, what do you do with that as a nurse or a doctor? You got people to help. You've got people to serve. And I don't know whether sadness can really serve you in serving them. Maybe it can bring out some empathy. I'm not really sure. But the truth is that any emotion you're feeling as a writer can be channeled into the writing itself. And there's a way that I think we professionals can learn to use that stuff, just like actors do, musicians, painters, to further our work rather than letting us stop in that space, rather than letting it stop us. There is no need for that. So here's the bottom line. If you are feeling particularly sad, let's talk about that today. Feeling particularly sad, maybe even depressed or close to depressed, certainly I'm a big fan of mental health counseling, therapy, all sorts of other modalities that you might use to address that in a larger sense is really important. But it doesn't mean you don't have to write that day. If you can take that feeling, that sadness, and channel it, say, into a particular character, maybe there's a particular person in your script who has this sort of sadness as their vein running through them, or as their superpower, you can really channel that feeling into that character and maybe come up with brand new stuff on a day that you're sad that you wouldn't come up with on a day that you are not sad, which doesn't necessarily mean you're going to change your outline, but it does mean you might paint with some colors and some nuances that you never had before, that you didn't even think about until you are feeling in that particular mode yourself. So that's one of the ways that we can do this thing. And this thing that I'm talking about is actually, a scientifically proven, discussed concept. And it's a concept called sublimation. And it is Sigmund Freud who came up with the notion of sublimation. And sublimation is taking an unacceptable, potentially unacceptable emotion and finding a way to sort of move it into a socially acceptable space. And that's what we writers can do all of the time, specifically with sadness and the other emotions that I'm going to talk about, with some very distinct and specific ideas about how I've used them, both in and out of writers' rooms and in and out of my work. This thing with sadness, I have absolutely used and channeled some of my own sadness, grief, and despair into some characters and scenes that are there to resonate on the page and actually lift the script to a higher level. I think we can all do that. Take a look at yourcreativelife.com for all sorts of things, soup to nuts, about how I can help you as a coach improve your writing career and move your writing and your writing mojo and your professional acumen to a place that will potentially free you and move you into the writing life, the writer, the professional that you want to be. Give this video a thumbs up, I mean to say, if you appreciate it. And check out this whole series about writers channeling their emotions, because we're going to talk a lot about it. And it's really something that I find essential and really useful in my writing life. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.